a lot of my early performing was in church, because I played for church and learned to play the organ, and then went to Oberlin as an organ and French major. And then eventually, because of my fondness for my piano teacher and decision to let go of the French degree and then the organ, and I emerged as a piano major. Of course, among the teachers that I was introduced to was Richard Hoffman. Mm-hmm. Much later, let's skip a little forward for a second. Mm-hmm. Being back in the United States after my time in living in Europe, yes. He, in a certain sense, gave me a letter of introduction to Leonard Stein when I would be in Los Angeles. Subsequently, when I was at school there, I met him, took a class with him, maybe 2 classes. Mm-hmm. So now I'll fill in the gap before getting to USC, which is that I spent 5 years living in Paris, and that was the fruit of an ambition to study piano with Yvonne Loriot, the wife of Messiaen. I spent some time living in Ohio after that, yeah. And decided to apply for a Fulbright. I wasn't given the Fulbright, but the husband of another teacher that I had gave me a round-trip ticket to go to Europe, and sort of like, here you go, young man, try your wares and see what happens.
Make your fortune.
Yeah. So, and it was open-ended, and I truly didn't come back for 2 years after getting there. Yeah. So I wrote a new letter, deposited it at the Conservatoire, yeah. And I did get a response. And so I started. Actually, my first lesson was on my birthday that year, and
nice present.
That led me to be more involved with a view onto contemporary music, and eventually I started studying the ondes marteneau, the very intriguing electronic instrument that some people know about or some don't. And I played in a sextet of that instrument that, among other things, allowed me to make a tour to Japan, playing the ondes marteneau. And then life happens, and I end up coming back to the United States. I was hanging out in New York for a while, and then I was trying to figure out what to do, so I applied to USC. I got into the program at USC, did a master's, and
who did you?
I was with John Perry.
With John Perry, yeah.
Which is a funny little circle back to Oberlin, because he had been at Oberlin, and he was a name that people spoke of, and then he was in Austin, Texas, mm-hmm. And
right.
So it was like a long callback to the idea of possibly doing grad school. Then later on, getting to know Leonard, and eventually then a couple of years after graduating, a few years after I graduated, we started this collective.